Good morning, everybody. And I'm on my way to Kilo 5221 Oakley Corner State Forest. Now, I don't normally film my drive in, but I kind of figured I'd show people where I activate most of the time. So this is the state forest that I go to the vast majority of the time. This is the closest park to my house. It's fairly large. There's lots of places to activate. There's tons of trails. It's a really cool place to go. So I'm going to come up to a crossroads here in a second, and if I turn to the left up here, that would take me to the side of the state forest where like all the ponds and everything are. But I'm going to turn left down this dirt road here. So this road is going to take us down into the forest. All right, now this is a fairly well-maintained dirt road. It's not like a regular old road. I mean, it doesn't have a name. It's just in the state forest. But I just kind of wanted to show you how far down in I go. Now I have activated like right back here where we just pulled in. Sometimes I'll just pull off and activate from over there. But generally speaking, I come way down in here. So that was weird. My camera decided it wanted to stop filming all of a sudden. So I'm not sure what that was about. These GoPros are kind of sketchy. So anyway, I'm going to drive down into the forest here, and I'll show you where I normally set up. So you can get down in here with a car. Usually it's not horrible. I probably wouldn't want to drive way down in here in a super low clearance vehicle. Like I certainly wouldn't take my Porsche down in here, but like my wife has a Subaru Crosstrek, that would be perfectly fine coming down in here. The road is a little bit rough, but it's not horrendous. It's been worse. They try to maintain it fairly well. One of the cool things about these Tacomas is they've got a GoPro mount right on the windshield, so I can just mount you guys right to the windshield and drive in. So there's a spot over here to my left. You probably won't be able to see it, but there's a good place to pull over here and activate. There's quite a few spots down in here that are good, and as we drive by, I'll kind of point out some of the different places I've been to activate. We're getting to the point where the trees are starting to change here. It's October 8th. It's a fairly cold morning. It's about 50 degrees, which isn't freezing or anything, but it's not super warm out. But you can see there's a lot of the trees are still green. The leaves are starting to change and fall. In the next week or two, these should all be changed. I will try to do some activations, assuming the weather cooperates, with all the trees changed, because it's pretty spectacular up here in the Northeast in the fall. If you've never been here during, October specifically, it is spectacular. It's one of the few redeeming qualities of living in a place like this. So like I said, this drive-in is it's not horrible. The road's a little ruddy and it's a little bumpy, but it's not tremendously bad. Now they did repair a bunch of stuff. We're driving across a culvert right now where a little stream goes across the road. That was all washed out before, and there was no way you were getting down in here with a regular car. I mean, this Tacoma barely cleared it. So there's a pull-off spot right here on the right-hand side where you can pull off, and it's very easy to put an antenna up right here. You can go right, there's trees right above the road. You can kind of string them up along the side of the road. But where I activate's in quite a ways. So right now we're headed downhill, and then we're gonna go back uphill. I sort of activate at the top of the second hill here. So we're coming down off of one. Driving across the second culvert that washed out before. Oh, you can see how bumpy that is. Now, not all the state forests have roads leading into them. This is a good spot right here. If you pull over right in here, that's a good spot also. It's nice in here. If you go back in the woods a little ways, there's a stream we're crossing right now. It's all ferns and everything. It's neat back there. That's a pretty good place also to set up. So there are quite a few pull-offs where there's no trails or anything. It's just a pull-off. There's one right here, which is pretty good. The next one up here is one that I actually activated at. In fact, when I did my video comparing the KX2 to the TX500, I did that one up here just a little ways, because my normal activating spot was full of people. People camp at where I normally activate. Now, it's not super popular to camp there, but especially on you know, nicer weekends, you'll get people camping there, and that weekend happened to be Labor Day weekend, so there were people camping there. So right here on my right hand side, you'll see a dirt berm. Back in there is where I did my video for the KX2 versus the TX500. So now we're heading back up the hill. We'll be approaching my my favorite spot here in a minute, and you can go way back down in. We're only going to go about halfway in. You can go way down in the forest here. There's a lot of other spots. Like I said, there are all sorts of trails and stuff up here. It's a really good place to come. But here's my spot. Hopefully there's nobody here. I don't see any cars, which is good. So we're going to go ahead and pull in here. I activate right up in here. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to back ourselves up in. You can't actually drive up to the spot I'm going to go into. That you used to be able to, and the state took a bulldozer and put a dirt berm up there. People were going up there with all sorts of vehicles and everything, and they didn't want people driving up there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to back myself up. Oop, hear my radio sliding around. Go a little bit further. Right about there is probably good. Okay, so I am going to shut the camera off here. I'm going to get everything out. I'll get everything set up, and then we'll get rolling. So I'll be back in just a minute. All right, so we're ready to roll. So today I'm running the KX1 again, and I'm running the CW Morse N0SA paddle again. Now, I've had problems with this paddle the past couple times I used it, and I was getting frustrated with it. I used to love it. It felt great to send on. Then all of a sudden, it just would send random weird DAWs, and it would just, if you watch my other videos when I've used that recently, of my mountain topper or this radio, you'd see it just sent all sorts of weird random dits and DAWs. I apologize for the wind noise. It's very windy up here, and it's extremely cold. The temperature's dropped about 10 degrees. Anyway, I thought maybe it was just these little QRP radios being wonky, so I threw that on my FTDX10, and it did the same exact thing. So I emailed CW Morse, and Jacob got back to me, and he said, you know, the only thing that could probably cause that is if the center post in here, where the contacts are, if that loosened up and it was bouncing back and forth, that could cause that. So I took the key apart, tightened everything up, put it back together, and now it works great. So I don't know if that was a little loose or what. So we're going to try it again today and see what happens. If it doesn't work, I've got the Bamatech TP3 right there, and I also have the key for the KX1. All right, so I have two keys right here with me. I also have other keys in the truck over there. But we're going to start with this and see what happens. Now, the last time I used the KX1, we were running super compromised. We were running AA batteries, a little over 1 watt. We were running a random wire with no on, no nothing, just BNC binding post right to the radio. And it worked, but it wasn't amazing. Today, I'm running full power, and I'm running a link dipole. All right, you probably can't see the antenna. It's the same link dipole I've run in some of my other videos. In fact, I've run it here in this exact position it's in right now. So my throw weight's over there on the ground. If I want to change bands, all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that throw weight on the ground. It's right there. And I'm just going to slide it out this way. That'll lower the antenna. I can unhook my links, and then I can pull it back up in the air. And it doesn't take very long. It's not that hard to do. That's kind of the easiest way to adjust the bands on this thing. So like I said, we'll see how this works. It is not super warm. Like I said, the temperature has dropped considerably, and it is pretty windy. So I'm going to probably make this a fairly short activation. I'm going to start on 40 meters, and hopefully we can get the job done there. If not, I'll switch to 30 or 20. The bands have been pretty good recently, so we will see what happens. But let me get you guys set up on the table here, and we will get you all situated so you can see what I'm doing. And hopefully everything goes according to plan. Of course, we all know how that goes, but we will give it a shot. So I did schedule this activation. It's just shy of 10 a.m. 40 should still work okay. Like I said, if it doesn't, we'll hop over to 30 or 20. I checked the RBN this morning. They all looked pretty good. Actually, 40 looked the worst of those. Lately, the higher bands have been pretty good. Yesterday, 15 was booming, 12 was booming, 10 was booming. So, at any rate, we'll see what happens here. Let me, like I said, I did schedule this activation. I'm going to open the POTA spot page just to make sure everything is working correctly. And I'm also going to have the RBN open so I can make sure I'm getting out. And I should get spotted on Ham Alert as soon as I hit the RBN, so that should be a non-issue. But I've been listening to this frequency for quite a while and I haven't heard anything on it. Now this radio does get affected by my phone considerably, so I'm going to try to move my phone a decent ways away from the radio. You can hear it right now. Okay, so let me just one more time make sure we're clear. I'm on 7.055. All right. So let's see. We're going to go to play. We're going to hit 1. I have no idea how loud the volume is going to be on this thing right now, so we'll see. But like I said, we're putting out full power today for a change. As of yet, I haven't hit the RBN, which is interesting. Oh, I did. I'm spotted. Okay, we're good. Oh yeah, I'm getting out pretty good. Yep. Missed that. Gotcha. Virginia. So it's 1356. Yep, gotcha. North Carolina. was windy. E3 GSS. It's gonna be Ontario. We got 5 right in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Listen to the difference in the signal reports on a real antenna with twice as much power, and I'm only running not even 5 watts, but. I can't hear him. KX1, I think. Yep. Man, he's way down there. .439. Main. He was really down in the weeds. I think he sent a 439. It was either 439 or 449. He was really hard to hear. Hands are getting cold. So you can see how much better this works with, like I said, I'm only running, I don't know, maybe 4 watts tops. But we've got a good antenna. There's somebody in there. Let me open my filter up. W2 something. Man, I got some people that are way down in the weeds today. I can't hear them. There was a W2 in there, but he's gone now. We need 1, 2, 3. I need 4 more. Whew, my hands are cold. It is not nice out here today. Let's let this thing do its thing and see what happens here. I mean, worst comes to worst, I change bands. It is a little after 10 a.m., which for 10 meters is probably, or not 10 meters, for 40 meters is probably really limiting who I'm going to get. So we'll call CQ a little bit on 40 here, and if we don't get any takers, I'll lower the antenna down and we'll hop over to 30. Missed one letter there. B. Gotcha. He's booming in. Take it. A little bit of QSB. Pennsylvania. Got a piece of leaf on me. Missed that first letter. AA. That's why. Ooh, faded. Ohio. Head. Whoa. TJ, is it K2J? W2TJ. Hilby, New York. If I remember correctly, that's ground wave. I think he's in Binghamton. Or NVIS. Whoa, wait, what? I had a WA. I think I got that right. Yep. Yep. W3, I think that was, what was that? RJ. PA. N1 GVV. I keep bumping the... Connecticut. Keep bumping the adjustment screw. On your radio, dude. I got this radio from Matt. So Matt, if you watch this, I'm on your radio. We got a lull. You know what? I'm going to call QRT because it is cold and windy and I don't want to run this one too long and I want to talk a little bit. So okay, so let's shut the radio off. Let's just talk a little bit about the activation that just happened. So it started out kind of slow and then they came in kind of gangbusters, and I figured I wanted to stop this before I got another pile up. So as you can see, this radio works substantially better with more power and a real antenna. I knew that going in. I mean, I knew that was going to be the case. When I shot that last video and I was using the little kit that was inside this Pelican case, I knew that was a huge compromise, but I just kind of wanted to see how well it would work, and we got our answer. You can do an activation like that, but it's not optimal, and I knew that. This radio is really good. As old as it is, this radio's got great audio. It's got, I mean, it's got AF and RF gains. It's got an adjustable filter. It's got CW memories. It's got an internal tuner. I really wish someone made a radio like this still. There are radios that are similar. I love my MTR4B. I love my SW3B. There's just something about this radio that makes it a little bit special. And it's not the greatest radio. It's got its quirks. It's old. It's underpowered. They're a little weird. But I'll be honest with you, I enjoy using it a lot. And man, I really appreciate the opportunity to buy this radio. And it's kind of funny that you were my last contact of the day. So man, I really appreciate it. So, like I said, lessons. Number one, full power helps, right? Last time I was running about 1.3 watts. Today I'm running whatever full power is out of this thing. It's not quite 5 watts probably. And the big difference is the antenna, right? So instead of running the end-fed random wire compromise, I am running a dipole, a full dipole. And that's not a compromised antenna. And you see the difference. I mean, look at my signal reports. Almost all of them were, I had 1, 2 signal reports that weren't 5 something. All right, the rest of them were like between 559 and 599. Out of a little QRP radio, that's pretty good. So, lesson is, power helps, but the antenna is the big difference. I mean, the difference between 1.5 watts and 4 watts or whatever on an S meter is nothing. The antenna is the difference. Okay, the antenna is what made the difference this morning. So, if you're gonna go out and you're gonna run QRP and you don't wanna be frustrated, the antenna is the key. Antenna, 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 all right? The better the antenna, the better you're gonna do, especially with QRP. The other thing is, other than me bumping the adjustment screws on this key, now that I took it apart and tightened everything up, it works great again. Now this is a very small key. It can be a little hard to hold on to. And like I said, I was bumping the adjustment screws with my fingers. You really gotta hold back further. And that's entirely me. That's not the fault of the key. The key is tiny and we know what it is. It's tiny and it's open on the sides. But now that I've got it working correctly, I'm happy with it again. I always loved that key and I was really disappointed when it wouldn't work. So now that we've got that squared away, I'm much happier. So with that being said, like I said before, my activation videos are going to become fewer and further between as the weather gets colder and nastier. Like I said, it's probably, right now it's probably in the low 40s, I'm going to guess. It was 48 when I left my house. But when I got in my truck before I started filming, it was down to 42, and it feels like it's gotten colder. It is very windy up here today. It's not super nice, and it's only mid-October. So when the weather really starts to get nasty, my activation videos are going to slow down dramatically. That's just a function of me not wanting to sit out in the snow. Might have done that when I was 18 or 28, but I'm not doing that when I'm 48, 49 years old. So like I said, they'll slow down a little bit, but I will have other content coming. I will still do activation videos in the winter. They just won't be as often. So again, with that being said, I really appreciate everybody watching this. I hope this was informative. I wanted to prove that this radio was better than it was the last time I took it out. And you saw, I mean, the audio was fantastic. My signal reports were fantastic. I really do love this radio. This really is a fantastic radio. If you get the chance to buy one of these for a reasonable sum of money, by all means do it. Do not spend stupid money on one of these things. Like I said, I saw a 2-bander with no tuner go for over 700 bucks on eBay. That's insane, right? Don't spend that kind of money on one, especially a bass radio. I wouldn't even spend that for this. Is a 4-band with an internal tuner. I wouldn't even spend that for this. But if you can get your hands on one, by all means do it. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pack everything up here. I really appreciate everybody watching. And until the next one, 7-3.